the Bristol Fusion net, calling the Bristol Fusion net. This is N4NT. My name is Adam, and I'll be the net control station for this session. This net meets each Tuesday at 9:30 or at the conclusion of our FM net in the Wires X room 61243 Bristol-ARC. We have local repeaters connected, including the 146.670 in Bristol, Tennessee, and the 443-000 on White Top Mountain in Virginia, as well as a few others. At this time, I'm going to forego any normal preamble that I normally do for the net, and I'm going to put out a last call. All stations will please stand by. W4KYS. 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 Nothing heard. It is my sad duty to inform you that W4KYS Tony Stitt of Bristol, Tennessee, passed away suddenly Friday, November the 29th, 2019, while camping in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Tony was the owner and operator of Nickel Technologies Incorporated for over 25 years. He was a past commander of the Johnson City Power Squadron and past president of the Bristol Amateur Radio Club, and a lifetime member of the American Radio Relay League. The Bristol Amateur Radio Club's Amateur of the Year Award was named after Tony's father, Gene, both of which were longtime members of our club. As a recipient of this award this year, I dedicated that award in honor of Tony. What I'd like to do for this net, before we start taking regular check-ins, for anyone local on frequency that knows Tony and would like to say anything during the comment session about him, please feel free to do so. For those of you not familiar with Tony and not local to the Bristol region, I'm going to ask this of you. Tony has been he was a long-time amateur radio operator and operated all different modes and bands and so forth, as many of you have. If you keep a electronic log, paper log, or what have you, I would ask that when you have the opportunity, and it may not be tonight, but if you can tonight, do so. If you can type in his call into your log and see if you've ever worked him, and just mention that to us and just let us know. I'll repeat his call again. It was W4KYS, Whiskey 4 Kilo Yankee Sierra. All right, with that, we will go into our net and go ahead and begin taking check-ins. And we ask that when you check in, please give your name, call, and location. This is N4NT with the Bristol Fusion net, and we'll begin taking check-ins now.
N4NT, please check in. KL1ZA, Kilo Lima 1 Zulu Alpha, Jim, Bristol, Tennessee. KF4VQA, Jeff in Monroe, Georgia. My apologies, Adam. I jumped the gun. I wasn't clear on when you're starting the net, so sorry for jumping in there too early. K1KC, Chris, east of Atlanta, fortunately not in Atlanta.
Okay, net recognizes KL1ZA, Jim here in Bristol. and KF4VQA. Jeff in Monroe, Georgia. No problem, Jeff. I probably should have kind of clarified what I was doing there. And K1KC, Chris, and thankful not to be in Atlanta. Appreciate you all checking in, and we'll come back for some comments. I did forget to mention if you this is a check-in and comment session. If you're new to the net and you don't want to make comments, you just want to check in, just state that you're in and out. Otherwise, we will assume you want to make comments and come back to you. All right. Any other stations you'd like to check in, please call now.
Yeah, control, please. Check in AB8RL, Alpha Bravo 8 Radio Lima, Tom in Scott Depot, West Virginia. Yeah, control, please check in KD4 CCO, Dallas and Bristol. Net control, please check in Kilo 8 Romeo Tango Tim in Hurricane, West Virginia. No traffic for the net this evening. Steve in Milton, West Virginia. No traffic. Good evening. This is W4KYS Whiskey 8 X-Ray Romeo Whiskey Rob in Charleston, West Virginia. Net control, please check in Kilo 4 Hotel Quebec Sierra. Rick in West Jefferson. Check me in and out, please.
Okay, and that recognizes KD4CCO Dallas and in Bristol, Virginia, and AB8RL, Tom and Scott Depot, West Virginia. And then in and out we had Kilo 8 Romeo Tango, Tim in West Virginia, and Whiskey 8 Romeo Tango in West Virginia. Had you in and out, and then W8XRW. Rob got you checked in, and then also in and out we had K4HQS, Rick in North Carolina got you checked in and out. Appreciate you joining us tonight. All right, real quick before I run the list here, I will mention that for the Bristol Fusion net, this is our 10th net tonight. I had to go back and look and see the date of the first one and count them up, but I'm going to try to keep track of that as we go along. As well. The first one we had was on October the 8th of this year, and now we'll go back and run the list here and get some comments. KL1ZA, good evening, Jim.
Good evening, Adam, and the rest of the net. This is KL1ZA. Like I told you before, in our normal net, it is nice to be inside, not sitting in a cold car with the engine running. It's still snowing here. Doesn't look like it's as big a flakes as it was earlier. But anyway, to the people calling in from West Virginia, hello. I know Milton, I know Hurricane, I know Charleston, I know that area pretty well, and Scott Depot. So 7-3 to all, and good night, KL1CA.
Okay, Jim, thanks for checking in, and well, you mentioned that. That reminds me real quick. The folks checking in from West Virginia, they have their own net Thursdays at 9 o'clock on the West Virginia link or WV link room, and we try to connect the local 670 repeater to that net whenever possible, and join in with those folks. So they have a really good net that's up and growing like ours here. All right, up next we have KF4 VQA, good evening.
Hey, good evening, Adam, and everybody on the net, and my condolences to the fellow Ham and a friend up there that passed recently. That's sad news. Hope everybody is doing well and doing pretty good down here in Monroe, Georgia area. And usually I'm always checking in, going through the WiresX software to your net, but today, and Chris helped me out earlier, I was doing a test.
Anyway, well, with that being said, I do know that K1KC was next. So, Chris, if you're there, it's your turn.
Okay, well, glad to have you back there, Adam. I was wondering what happened. I thought something happened to Jeff, but then I realized that your node went down. Well, let's see what's going on. I haven't bought any radios over the last 2 weeks because I bought some before that, and I don't need any more. I'm tripping over radios. So, what was I going to say? I had something in mind, and then I lost that. Oh, yeah. The last time I applied for a new node number, a totally new node number, it took 6 days. Prior to that, I applied for one, and it took about a month. And when I got really tired of waiting, I sent them a little email saying, can you guys check into this? And then I had it the next day. And the crazy thing was, the same day that I filed that new node number, the first one, I applied for a change to a different node, and that only took 2 days. So I kind of think Yates is dropping the ball on this node business. It's getting people jacked up, including me, and they don't want to jack me up. K1KC.
Okay, Chris, thanks for checking in. Yeah, as far as the radios go, I need to change out one mobile I've got, and I'll have Fusion on pretty much everything that I run. So hopefully I can get that done. Maybe Santa Claus will take care of me on that. But of course, you know how it goes. That won't be the end of my radio buying ventures. In fact, I still want to get an amplifier for HS and do something there. So. Well, all right. Well, thanks for everybody that hung in there with us with the technical difficulty. I have no idea what caused it. It was just sudden and quick, and I'm still trying to work out NetLogger here, but I do have the check-in list saved I have so far. And up next, I've got KD4CCO. Good evening, Dal.
Well, I had to find the right microphone, and I just about picked up the wrong one. I've done that before. I've got 3 microphones on the desk here, and sometimes it's very easy to pick up the wrong microphone and be transmitting on the wrong radio, on the wrong frequency, and all that kind of stuff. Adam, when we get through with the net here, I like to try something. And if you have a problem again, maybe I can help you out. But we'll need to do some testing on that and see if I can make it happen. I've got 2 computers, 2 radios, 2 antennas, all sitting here running this thing. If my node had went down, I could have just swapped over to another system and just continued on. You wouldn't have known the difference. But I don't think. But you have to be the third party for that to work. I think that's what we want. That's why I want to do some testing. We'll look at this after a while and see what we can come up with in case your computer fails again. So back to net control. This is KD4CCO.
Okay, Dallas. Yeah, sounds good. It's always good to have a backup. It's a good computer, so I don't know what happened with it. Just I don't know. I guess unless it got tuckered out. I had it kind of busy earlier programming my FDM 400, and I just downloaded some new software and all that kind of stuff. So maybe it just decided it needed a restart, whether I was going to give it one or not. I did about managed to get in and take control of the net logger session. I guess smart on my part for setting up the password feature for where I could, it recognized me as a different station coming in, but it let me take over control of the net by putting in that password. So so far looks like I can move the pink line up and down again. All right, up next we have Tom in Scott Depot, West Virginia. Good evening, Tom.
N4NT on the net, AB8RL. Good evening, Adam. We kind of lost you there for a few minutes. I just reconnected. I didn't know if that was your end or our end, but we thought we lost you for the night. I sent you an email, but we're back with you. Anyhow, glad to check in from West Virginia. Got a cold evening up here. It's in the low 30s. Got about a half an inch of snow in our area. Late afternoon. And other than that, you're doing a great job. And glad to join the net. We got quite a few here from the local repeater that earlier checked in. N4NT in the net from AB8RL.
Okay, Tom, thanks for checking in. Thanks for hanging in there with us. Yeah, I had a sudden loss on my computer. It just turned itself off all of a sudden and restarted. So it didn't even give me a warning or anything that it was going to. So I don't know what happened. The only thing I can think of is I installed some software on it earlier, so maybe it did some kind of manual shutdown I didn't know about. But appreciate you connecting back in and hanging in there with us. I did manage to get in here and get the net logger session back, so keep up with all that. All right, the next couple stations we're in and out, so that brings us to Whiskey 8 X-Ray Romeo Whiskey. Sorry, getting tongue-tied with all this confusion. Rob in South Charleston. Good evening, Rob. Okay, we might have lost Rob there in the technical difficulties, but if he comes back in later, we'll certainly we'll make some comments. So that brings us to the bottom of the check-in list. Are there any other stations that would like to check in? Please call now.
Net control, please check in. N4XRD, Ralph and Chilhowie.
Okay, net recognizes N4XRD, Ralph in Chilhowie, Virginia. Thanks for checking in. We'll be back to you momentarily. Any other stations like to check in, please call now.
Kilo, India 5, Delta, Quebec, India. Chris in Keller, Texas.
Okay, Chris, KI5VQI in Keller, Texas. I think, to my knowledge, you may be the first Texas station we've picked up. Thanks for checking in tonight. We'll be back momentarily for some comments. Any other station, please call now. Okay, well, let's go back up here. I'll tell a quick story. Ralph is in Chilhowie, Virginia, and the town I grew up in was the next door neighbor to Chilhowie, Virginia. It's called Saltville, Virginia. Pretty unique little place. If as a person says, plug that into your Google machine and check that out. But I do know, being a neighbor to Chilhowie growing up and running around with some folks in that town when I was a teenager, that the name Chilhowie actually means Valley of Many Deer. So I'm full of useless knowledge, but that's one thing I'll throw out there for our friends and neighbors in other areas that may be hearing these places for the first time. All right, so we'll go to Ralph now. Good evening, Ralph.
N4NT in the net, N4XRD, Ralph. Indeed, I am in Chilhowie, at least that's my address. I actually live out on a little area called Sugar Street, which is named for its moonshine tradition. When the net went down a little while ago, it reminded me of the time that I crashed America Link. And evidently didn't even know about it for about a month or two. I got banned from it, and all kinds of interesting posts were made about what the heck was that N4XRD guy doing. And just kind of got me off WiresX there for a while. So when this net went down tonight, I turned off the radio, turned off the computer, considered unhooking my antennas, didn't want to be the guy that crashed the net. So I was kind of relieved when I heard that your computer had went down. I got back on the repeater and off of WiresX, and listened to you and Alice talk a little bit. I have had some experience with computers lately where I've brought 7 computers from Windows 7 onto the Windows 10 operating system, and found out just today that when you do a fresh install of Windows 10 that your computer never actually turns off. It goes into a sleep mode. Even though you don't put it to sleep, it still does. And 2 times I was sitting near computers I had upgraded, and all of a sudden they just spontaneously turned on and decided they needed an update, or maybe the network was active, or just different things happened. So of course I had to Google that and figure that all out, and I'm just warning you, Windows 10 is another beast. So this is N4XRD out here on Sugar Street, Chilhowie. Yeah, there's deer sleep in my front yard all the time. So good evening all.
Okay, Ralph, thanks for checking in. And yeah, I've had my issues and stuff with Windows 10 and computers in general. And basically, I'm having to use my laptop that I would normally use for other things to keep the WiresX room going. But hopefully, here in the next week or two, I'm going to pick up either a refurbished desktop or laptop that I'll be able to just dedicate solely to the WiresX room. I don't think that had anything to do with what happened tonight, but I think it's just where I installed some software and it shut down. But we've had we're up to net number 10, and I know of at least off the top of my head at least 3 that we've had that computer problems of some sort, or software or whatever. And one night I think it was even on WiresX, Yesu's end. So that's going to happen occasionally, and we keep working the kinks out. And the cool thing about it is most folks that are checking in with us use this stuff on a regular basis and realize things like that happen. And seems like most everybody hung in with us and gave us a minute to work through it. All right, up next we have KI5DQI, Chris in Texas. Thanks for joining us tonight, and welcome to the net, Chris.
Hello, everyone. Just thanks for taking my check-ins, and I'm kind of new to WiresX. I just set up my radio in TDN mode last weekend. I have an FTM 400, and I've been talking on repeaters and whatnot, and I set it up last weekend at my in-laws' house, and talked to a guy on the San Antonio Digital Radio Club room, and that was kind of the first time I got it hooked up. So I was kind of looking online at all the digital nets, and I came across y'all's and saw that y'all were having a net tonight. So I just figured I would check in and say hi to everybody. And one thing I noticed was that I can't get into Texas Nexus or American Link, and I believe that's because I don't have the right cable. I only have a SCU. I forgot what it's called, but I think I need to get another cable kit to check into those different Texas Nexus and American Link. Back to the net. KI5DQI.
for checking in. And yeah, you are correct. If you're using the cable that came with the radio, the SCU20, it'll only connect to all digital rooms. Those rooms are analog, and so you'll have to have the SCU40 cable, which is basically the SCU20, but it has a extra part made into it that connects to the microphone and speaker jack of your computer, and that's where the analog side where you get the audio from. And there's settings in Wires X you can go into to try to clarify that audio, I guess, make it work a little bit better. That's one of the reasons we just kind of run all digital on this room, because you can take the single cable to the USB port, hook it in. You don't have to adjust your audio or anything, and it's plug and play and straight up. But yeah, there's a lot of folks on these nets and stuff that have a lot of knowledge of this stuff. Fellows on here that have a lot more knowledge of it than what I do, and some of them I consider my mentors. So yeah, you come to the right places to get information. We're here every Tuesday night at 9:30, and another good. I'll just go ahead and throw a plug out there for Chris and his net. The Yard Dogs group meets at, and of course I'm speaking Eastern time. I realize you're in a different time zone. They meet each Wednesday night at 9 o'clock Eastern time, and they usually have some type of technical subject matter pertaining to Wires X or System Fusion, and a lot of good folks there that can answer your questions, and if you have questions about anything. And thank you for bringing Texas to the net tonight. All right, are there any other stations that would like to check in? Please call now.
4NRI.
Okay, we got K4NRI, Gary in Kingsport. We're kind of winding down, Gary, so we'll just go ahead and let you make some comments there. Good evening, Gary.
Well, I'll make a little comment here. I don't know what I was going to say really, but anyway, I've said something. But I got in here kind of late. I just about forgot about it. Then I remember y'all's Fusion net was tonight. So I finally come back in here after fixing all my medicine up.
Well, Gary, we're glad you joined us tonight. Yeah, we had a little technical difficulty there in the middle of the net. The computer that hosts this room shut down on me pretty quick, and took me a minute to get it back up there. So probably worked out good though, because sometimes we're usually done by this point of the night, but that held it in there to pick up a couple more check-ins. But we appreciate you checking in with us tonight. And I'm like you. I had something on my mind I was going to say, and got talking about something else and just totally let it slip. But maybe I'll think of it here in a minute. All right. Are there any other stations that would like to check in? Please call.
Net control is the KD4 CCO recheck. I'm monitoring both repeaters here, and I heard Gary, KM4X, try to check in. He got covered up, so you might give him a call.
Okay, yeah, thanks for letting us know. KM4X, Gary, if you're there, we'll go ahead and turn it over to you for comments. Good evening, Gary.
Yeah, good evening, Adam, and appreciate you handling everything there on the net, covering everything up front there for Tommy. But sure going to miss him. But it's a good turnout, and good to have Texas checking in. That's a distance away, and glad to be in here with the crew, with everybody from different directions. You lost the system there. I didn't know what it might have been at the time, but I kept waiting and until everything cleared up and video on, got back in here to check in. So I'll let you run, and we'll talk to you later then. AM4X. Clear. Good evening.
Okay, Gary, always good to hear you there. Appreciate you checking in with us, and that brings us to the bottom of the list once again. Are there any other stations that would like to check in? Please call now. Okay. Are there any other or any stations that have already checked in that have anything else for the net before we close? All right. Well, as they say, if all minds are clear, we'll just a couple quick reminders again. The Yard Dogs net tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. On Wires X, a lot of times we will connect the 6-7 repeater to that net. Also, locally, the 443 repeater will have their FM net tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. If you like me, you can juggle a couple of radios and check into both, or if not, if you check into 443, it's usually the Yard Dogs net usually runs a little longer, so you can usually get in on both either way. And then the West Virginia net is Thursday at 9 o'clock, and we try to connect the 670 repeater to that net as well. So if anyone wants to join in. All right, we had 14 check-ins tonight and had 6 states represented. And we'd like to thank each one of you for taking time to check into the net. This is N4NT closing the Bristol Fusion net at 10:12 p.m. and returning all connected systems back to normal amateur use. 7-3 and good night.